I'm very excited to join the rock dust field trial. I have always been very curious about the uses of rock dust. I learned about it through John from growingyourgreens.com. He just gets so excited about this product and he just swears by it, and that enthusiasm just sort of resonates with you. So I went out and found this azomite, and I got this from Southern States. And what they had was this granulated type of azomite. And so this is not the powdered form that John likes, but he also said that this is good if this is all you can get, so that's what I got. But this thing is quite expensive, so I've just been so curious about whether or not it's actually truly necessary for healthy growth of vegetables. I'm spending some time now to design the field trial, so I thought I would make a quick video, well, a semi-quick video, just to get input from people to make sure that I have the right study design. I've been reading the guidelines that Stephen from Alberta Urban Gardens have put together, and this is a really great guideline. It's very well thought out and very easy to follow. The most important thing, I think, in the beginning is to understand what the hypotheses are. And there are two main hypotheses. And the first one is that the rock dust will result in bigger plants and healthier plants. And then the second hypothesis is that rock dust will benefit the germination rate when you start seeds indoors. The first experiment that I want to think about is hypothesis 2, because this is the first one that I will set up. And what I plan to do is to use the seedlings grown in the control group of hypothesis 2 for hypothesis 1. And so first I want to think about what sort of starting mix I want to use. And I want to show you what I'm thinking about using, but also today Luke from MI Gardener had a video talking about his thoughts on the best seed starting mix. So I'm thinking about implementing some of what he suggested. This is the seed starting mixture I'm thinking about using. It's an organic starter mix, and I used this last year and it was alright. The ingredients: peat moss, vermiculite, perlite, and an organic wetting agent. Now in the rock dust trial guidelines, it states that if the starting mix or any potting soil contains non-organic wetting agent, to not use it. But this is organic wetting agent, so I think it's okay, but I'm going to double check with Stephen and or Patrick from 1 Yard Revolution. Luke from the MI Gardener today posted a video talking about the ideal seed starting mix, and he was talking about adding worm casting to the mix. And I do have some worm casting, but I want to make sure that I have enough to get to the trial, the actual outdoor trial. So that's one option, to use his suggested starting mix. Alternatively, if I don't have enough organic starter mix, I'm going to go out and buy another commercial organic starter mix. So that will be the control for the germination test, and the test would be this control mix plus the rock dust. Now I want to mention really quickly what I've decided to use as the test plant. Stephen suggests using either plants from the nightshade and or plant from the brassica family. So I'm going to do this yellow pepper, A, because I have enough seeds, and B, because I think peppers compared to tomatoes will require less space. And my plan once we take this outside is to grow this in 3-gallon containers. It's not ideal because I think peppers do better in 5-gallon containers, but that's what I have space for. And for the peppers, once they go outside, I'm only going to be able to do one. I can't do duplicates. And then the other plant I'm going to use is this bok choy. And these are seeds that I collected from the plants like two years ago, and this really still has good germination rate, so I think this should be really good. And the other reason why I'm using bok choy is because it's a very small plant, and I plan to keep this indoors in either the beer cups, what are they, the plastic cups, or a little bit bigger yogurt containers. So this one, I'm planning on doing triplicates. So these are the two plants I'm going to be using. For hypothesis 1, I'm going to have 3 test groups and 1 control. And for the control, I'll be using peat moss and compost. The compost is going to be a product called Leaf Grow, and this is a compost or humus that is made by the state of Maryland Environmental Services from grass clipping and leaves. And it's a very affordable product, and it's really nice. So this is what I usually use to amend my soil. I will be mixing the soil at a 1-to-1 ratio of peat moss to compost. In test 1, I want to test what effect my worm casting has on the growth of plants. So test 1 would be the control plus worm casting. And I'm going to use a 1-to-1 to 0.5 ratio, and this is because I just don't have a lot of worm casting. I'm working on speeding up the production, but I don't know that I'll have enough in time for the planting season. So this is test 1. Test 2 is going to be peat moss, compost, and rock dust. So this is control plus rock dust. And this will be the first test of the rock dust. My feeling is if rock dust is effective, I feel like this might actually be okay, because I believe that the compost has some microbial activity that the worm casting has. But it'll be an interesting test to see. And the final group, test 3, is a culmination of everything. So it's the control plus rock dust plus worm casting. And again, the ratio of peat moss compost to worm casting will be 1-to-1 to 0.5. So these are the 4 groups that I'll have. And the plants that I'll be using, again, is bok choy and pepper. For bok choy, I'm going to have 3 of each in each test group. And this is good to have 3 just because you might have one single outlier. So it's sort of, it's kind of like a tiebreaker if you have 2 different observations, and you can also get a better estimate of the mean as well. For the pepper, while they're growing indoors, I plan to have 2 each, but once I move outside, I'm just going to have 1. This is because I just don't have space for 8 containers outside and could only probably maintain 1. But still, I think it could be quite informative to have 4 plants grown in the different conditions. So the outcome, or what I'm going to be measuring in the bok choy, will be height, circumference. I'm thinking sort of the width of the plant, the weight of the plant, so just the top part of the plant, and length of the root, and sort of the density of the roots. For the peppers, I'll be measuring the height of the plant, the number of fruits, the size of the fruit, as well as the weight of the fruits. So I think these are kind of objective measurements. And the other thing that John Kohler talks about is how rock dust improves the taste of the food. So I don't think I have a very sharp tongue. I don't think my taste buds are very, very sensitive. So I'm going to see if I can recruit some friends to do a taste test to see if they can taste the differences in the plants that were produced in the different mediums. So this is my current thought in terms of study design for part hypothesis 1. The first thing I'm going to be setting up is hypothesis 2, and I plan to do that this weekend. If you guys have any suggestions or thoughts on sort of the overall design of this test, please let me know. I still have time to change things around, but I'm very, very excited to see how this trial goes.